Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Cynthia Alvarez, and this is the Grand Boulevard Coalition show. As you can see today, I'm joined with a guest. His name is Triston, and basically today we're going to be interviewing him, getting to know him a little bit more, learn about his interests, his passions, things going on in the community, and just have some conversations about that. But really quickly before I get into the interview, I just want to say tomorrow, or Saturday actually, August 2nd, there is going to be an event on 33rd and State. It is the Maddie Hunter event health fair. And Healthy Living, our number one goal, will be there along with a bunch of other organizations giving out free resources. There will be giveaways for families, food being given away for free, and lots of other great resources. And the Jesse White tumbling team, I believe, will also be there. So if you're interested, bring your family. And yeah, so getting into the interview with Triston. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, and you?
I'm doing good,
That's
thank
good.
you. It's very nice to meet you.
You too as well.
And we were connected through Dorian and along with Laurel, my supervisor. So it's great to make this connection. Great to have youth come on here and just talk a little bit about what he's up to. And yeah, so tell us a little bit about where you go to school and what you're studying.
Okay, my name is Triston Minor. I currently attend Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a business finance major, and I grew up in the Southside, Chicago.
Nice, nice. And so what got you interested in majoring in business?
First, I really started off as an engineer, and but in high school, senior year, I took an AP micro class, and I tended to go with finance and learning more about the stocks and the financial market of things. So halfway through the year, I was like, I don't know if this engineering stuff is for me, so I switched to finance.
Yeah, yeah. And so at your high school then, did they have anything with finance, any classes or anything about
Yeah, so
that?
I took AP micro my junior and AP micro my senior year, so
That's
I was
cool.
familiar with the stuff and I tended to go with it. I had a teacher that went by Mr. Malui, and I learned so much from him, and I thought it was so interesting.
Yeah.
So that's why I picked finance.
I like that. I like that. I feel like they've been including or introducing more classes like that for people in high school, because I feel like they didn't have a lot of that before. I remember they had like a forensic science class in my high school, and that's basically thinking about crime scenes and things like that. But it's like it gets people and youth introduced into maybe new job avenues potentially that they could get into in the future. So that's really good that they had stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So then, what got you interested? So you basically were saying because of the classes in high school, right? That's how you kind of got
And
introduced.
like growing up in like the West Inglewood neighborhood, there's a lot of poverty, and people don't know how to resource their money and put it back into making generational wealth. So by me doing that, I can teach people or our community how to
So true.
use their money and preserve their money, because the U.S. dollar is very valuable. So
Yes. I feel like that is so true, especially with like the young people, you know, especially if your parents don't really know about managing money, then how are you going to learn as the child, you know, in that situation? But kind of being introduced to these other resources that you got introduced to, you're able to, and you want to teach other people, you know, this is what you can do.
they tend not to teach that in like Chicago public schools, and how people like mortgage and like stuff like that, like how to use your money, and like how to you have to pay bills, and you have to save, you have to do a lot of stuff in order to like keep your money and like build on top of it and stack money. So I want to be a financial advisor, or potentially go into investment banking and own my own firm, and potentially down the road go into real estate, because I tend to go like building in houses and stuff. So by me putting it out there and marketing it, I can feel like I can do something with that.
So that would be something then that you feel you would want to do as a future career after you graduate, basically. Nice. I think that's really good too. I feel like, especially like we were saying, just kind of learning about these things. You know, I kind of grew up that way too, especially with like learning about credit and building your credit. It was something that was intimidating. It was something that, you know, maybe our parents didn't understand, and they're like, oh, don't get a credit card because you're going to mess it up. So then you never learn, and then it kind of sets you up for failure in a way, in that sense, in the financial sense. But I think that's awesome. And then, you said doing a little bit of real estate, and then educating others in that way.
Like our community, like our youth, like they don't really know much about like how to use your money, and there's so much to it than just spending. You got to learn how to gain the money first, and potentially put into stocks, Bitcoin, stuff like that to create more money. So
having that, like, learn to have that patience too with money, because if you are investing it into things, you really have to let it grow, and I feel like that's a big thing too, especially with stocks. Like you said, it's especially, I guess, depending on the stocks you invest in, you want to be like, oh, should I sell now or should I just leave it? But it's learning about the different kinds of stocks, too, that there are, right? Some that are more short-term, maybe long-term. So do you kind of are learning your...
Yeah, I'm learning right now. Nice. I'm actually going into my first micro class for college and basic stats. I'm taking business calc next semester. So just... gaining more knowledge on what I want to do for a living. So
that's awesome.
So I'll be doing this for a long time, so I gotta know what I'm doing. So
yes, that makes sense. So then the classes you're taking, a lot of them are math related, financial.
A lot of math.
Oh, okay, nice. So I guess talking a little bit more about youth engagement, what are some things that might get youth interested in being more involved in organizations, like in the community? What are things that maybe you've seen, that you've learned, and that you might get you interested in being involved?
I feel like our youth tend to follow like famous people, like basketball players, rappers. So the influence that they give on our youth causes them to do like stuff like with clothes. If you think about brands and stuff, if you see a famous rapper with a famous brand, kids tend to want to buy that brand and wear that brand because they want to live that life like as a rapper or an NBA player. So I feel like those type of people influence our youth, especially if they grew up in our neighborhoods and know that what we went through and stuff like that.
That's true. So kind of like you're saying, finding people like celebrities that are relatable and just kind of seeing how they got to where they are through their hard work. It kind of inspires youth to be involved in that.
Because people tend to think of it as a charity case, which is not. And people, like, when they see it like that, they like, nah, I don't want you to, like, help me. And, like, they see people that went through the same struggles that they went through. They tend, like, yeah, I can do that too. Like, I can do that. Like, and it's like with different, like, community stuff. Like, if they see, like, I would say, like, Derrick Rose doing something like that's positive with the community, they'll want to do the same thing.
That's true. That's true. And I feel like that definitely kind of goes into, if like people like me, for example, that work in nonprofit organizations, when we want to relate to the youth, it's kind of how we talk to them and not talking at them, if that makes sense. Just kind of making sure that we can relate to them in a way, saying like, hey, I grew up this way too, and this is what I went through, without kind of, I guess, trauma dumping on them, but just kind of being relatable to them, right? So just the same way, like you said, with celebrities, you see how successful they are, but you saw that this is how they grew up and they get it. So kind of you would say finding people that you relate to, that relate to you, basically, right, would get youth more interested. Yeah, I think that that's really, really important. And what I think about, too, is just, you want to make sure you talk in a way that's like, okay, like, I get that this happened. But instead of saying, oh, yeah, judging them, I guess, you don't want to come off like you're judging them. Yeah. No, that definitely makes sense. And, what are some other things you think that organizations can do to get youth's attention?
Well, for me, I play sports, so I think sports is big, and I feel like that was my escape route, because growing up on the west side, the West Inglewood side of Chicago, I can easily fall into that trap with the streets and drugs and stuff like that. But with just baseball being my escape route, like, I was able to be where I'm at right now. So sports, I feel like that's big, like, with our youth.
Definitely.
It takes up their time and stuff like that. So
yeah, I definitely agree with that. And with you finding baseball, was that through your high school, or was that through?
I've been playing baseball since I was around like 3 years old. So well, my dad introduced me to it and keeping me away from like the negativity that was in the neighborhood and just focusing straight on baseball and school.
Exactly.
And I feel like parents play a big part in their youth life, because kids look up to their parents, and what their parents allow them to do is what they're going to do. So
that's very true. And I feel like I relate to that too. And I feel like in my family, with my brother, my dad had him go to join soccer clubs that was outside of school, would take, him to the soccer clubs on the weekends and make the time to do that. And that's really a big part. Like you said, parents play a big role because they have to take a big chunk of their time to dedicate, like important skills and show important skills to their kids and say like, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to be involved in this. And maybe to the kid at the time, it might be like, oh, this is too much. I don't want to do all this. Like, I don't know. But then you kind of learn to appreciate it later as you get older. And I feel like that definitely, like you said, the parents being involved, because if a parent's not involved and it's like, oh, my dad doesn't care where I'm at. My mom.
Yeah, and then there's people that's on the streets that they can look up to, and they like,
definitely.
Oh, he's doing this, I want to follow after him because I don't have a parent in my life that I can follow after. So
yeah. So even like finding other support systems, even if maybe you can't find them in your own family, you have a friend that's like, hey, your dad's kind of cool. Like, what does he do? Or things like that. And I feel like definitely being a good role model, not just for your kids but for other kids that can really inspire them, is a big part of that. And just being involved in terms of like just asking your kid when he gets home, like, oh, what did you do today? Like, how's school going? What's all this? Instead of, being that distant parent that's like, or that absent parent, right? That's like, that doesn't really care. So if your dad doesn't care, why should I care? I'm not going to care about what I'm doing. If I'm failing school and my parents don't care, then I don't care. Yeah. So I definitely agree with that. And I think that's a good point for sure. Okay, I like that. So kind of being more involved in sports. Like you said, too, you were involved in baseball, having more sports in organizations, even just having like a space. Like let's say you come to our organization to learn something, right? We do a workshop. And then you have some free time after and you don't want to go home just yet. Just saying like, oh, hey, there's a basketball court down the street, or we have a basketball court here in this building, you can go hang out there. I feel like that's something that would also, like you're kind of like how you're saying, keep kids more interested and wanting to stay away from other things that might negatively affect their lives.
And I feel like our youth usually tend to money chase, and like everybody wants money, so like they result to selling drugs. But like if the community put out like, do so and so and you get this amount of money, like kids gonna chase after that.
That's
like
true.
Do something positive, you get some money. Instead of like them going to the streets and selling drugs and doing all this to get fast money, they can learn how to actually make money. Doing positive things.
Exactly.
And that can grab our youth attention a lot.
Yes. No, I agree. I feel like that's a lot of what organizations with youth, especially, with ones that we connect with, like GBPS, that try to get kids to find jobs that maybe things that they might like, maybe things that they didn't know that they might be interested in, but all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, like I like doing this, and you get to make a little money on the side doing it. And even sometimes, like schools that have their after-school programs. I don't know if you know the program, the After School Matters program.
I participated at
nice.
A few years ago. So yeah.
Nice. What did you do in the After School Matters program?
I think we did like different artwork. We did artwork around the city. So like different murals. We helped work on different murals and got paid to do that. Positive murals, like painting like stuff like under viaducts and stuff. So putting out a positive image.
Exactly. And then if they put it up somewhere, it's like something that you can look back on and be proud that you're like, hey, I
we actually got to put our names and sign our names on the mural.
Cool.
So,
and like things like that makes a difference. It's like not only did you get paid to do it, but you actually enjoyed it and you had fun. You made friends, and it was something to do during the summertime. Our school also had that, I think, for a couple years. I think they might still have it too. And I was able to be, they had an art club, and then we also had, I believe it was like theater too. So, just kind of getting into things that you might not normally get into. It really helps expand youth's horizons and be like, oh, this was something I never thought that I could do, maybe as a career or even just as like a hobby, or even like as a side hustle, right? Like something that you could do on the side if you find out you're good at art. Like, hey, I might do this on the side while I do my other job. But yeah, definitely having jobs that can get kids' attention to kind of help them stay off of other, quick money making things that can lead to, negative consequences. So yeah, those are really important for sure. Okay. So what do you think are some benefits to youth being more involved in their communities?
Some benefits, I feel like the elderly community see that it's change in like the community. So if our youth is like, because they're mostly like they feel like they are adding a distraction to the community. So like the elderly can see like that we're not just causing problems, that they're actually helping build up and helping them and doing stuff for the community.
Yeah. Just kind of like building that sense of building relationships within their community. Just making sure that you know the people that live around you. You're able to connect, and they kind of help connect you with other resources, maybe, right? Like,
you're not going down the wrong path, and like because people like that, like I say people that in the community, like they see like the youth and they like think of them like as anybody else, and like the stereotypical, they're not doing nothing, but by them doing something to better the community, it can show like that it's change.
Yes. Yeah, it like increases, definitely, like you said, like increases community and increases a sense of maybe safety, a sense of, like, oh, I know this guy, he lives down the street from me, so he has a connection to a job potentially, so just kind of having those connections, it can really make you feel closer. And I feel like definitely that's something that maybe it used to be more common before, and I feel like, with phones and social media, definitely, especially younger people might be more looking into their phone versus having an in-person connection. And I feel like also too, I kind of mentioned this in other shows, but talking about like how COVID really messed up, youth's communication skills in a sense.
Badly.
Yeah.
I can say that for myself too.
Yeah.
I'm just really starting to come out my shell. I could say that like a few years ago, because during COVID, going to a new high school, because I was going to my freshman year of high school, so I really didn't tend to have that many friends I can talk to besides the people that I made friendships with baseball. So going into high school, I didn't really know anybody. I didn't really know how to make new friends, because the whole year you just sitting in the house all day not doing nothing.
Exactly. And without your baseball connection, then that would have really isolated you, right?
Yeah.
I feel like definitely that's something that a lot of kids who maybe didn't have other outside clubs or other things to do other than just go to school, go home. They're just at home all day on the computer. You can't really make any real friends that way, even if they force you into those, the groups online, when they split you up into groups. I feel like that never really worked, because people would have their cameras off or would just text through the chat and not really say anything. So, yeah, definitely I feel like that's something that is a common experience for you guys, especially coming into high school during that time. So definitely learning to come out of your shell, like you said, it really has a all-time benefit. And I don't know if you've heard, like some schools have started to be more strict with phones, taking phones away at school, so that way kids can actually make friends. Yeah.
Because social media, like Instagram, that's how a lot of kids make their friends, which is odd, but like in-person interaction is way better to get to know somebody and
definitely
understand person's feelings or something like that.
Yeah, and with those like in-person friendships that you have, because if you have friends that are all online, you're never gonna see them in person, maybe most likely. But once you actually make friends with people in your own school or in your own community, you're like, oh, hey, let's go over here, let's go hang out over here. You're actually putting yourself out there and going outside, and just kind of actually like we're kind of talking about engaging in our community. So those are really good points, and I feel like there are known benefits to exposing yourself and coming out of your shell, and doing things like that. So thank you for sharing that. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit more about the program you're involved in, and what do you do there? What do you like about it? How is that going?
So I'm a part of Grand Boulevard Prevention Services. And we're just an organization that prevents youth from going down the wrong path. If it's from doing drugs or hanging out with the wrong people or putting yourself in an environment that's not right. So we're just trying to prevent the youth from not going down that wrong path.
Yes.
So stuff like we do like gardening at local churches and help with just stuff around the church, and like keeping our youth that's not on the streets and keeping them occupied and doing something that's positive.
Yeah. And it kind of like you were saying with the art and the ASM that you were a part of, you get to see your work kind of in full display, but with the gardening too. Yeah. And do you get to connect with, or do you ever connect with people in the community, like the people that work at the church?
Yeah. So I got to learn about a lady that actually started the garden, and she gave us a talk and taught us multiple things about how to plant a plant, or how to water the grass, how to take care of the grass, how it needs sunlight and nutrients in order to grow. Yeah. So you learn a lot, actually, and that's cool. It may be influencing me when I later down my life. I want to start a garden in my house. So
there you go. There you go. I feel like stuff like that definitely helps educate. Do they also teach you about gardening with like fruits and vegetables, or is it mainly just like plants?
Just plants right now. Hopefully it goes into actually planting your own fruits and vegetables, so you can learn how to take care of that, and it's much cheaper than probably going to the store.
Exactly. You know, sometimes it's inspiring to see that too, when you learn about how to make your own farm become like a little self-sustainable in a way. And you know, if you end up growing your garden, you can end up, you know, selling to people in your community, or just giving to people in your community, and that in a way kind of starts like another business, right?
Going back to like finance and business, and like that's another way of income.
Exactly. I think that's really cool. And okay, I like that. So kind of being involved in your community in the way that you get to work in the gardens and kind of see your progress too, I guess, as you go along throughout the summer, right? I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So we kind of talked a little bit about this, but are there any issues in your community that you want to see changed?
Yes, violence. Growing up on, like I said, on West Inglewood, it'll be days that, like nights and stuff, that there'll be a lot of shooting, and my mom would make me have to lay down on the ground, so that played a big part in my childhood. Like, just being traumatized from that, because that's not normal at all, and people like adapt to that and think that's the norm, but it's really not. It's actually horrible. And like I said, with poverty and like our kids not really getting to college because they don't have the funding to get to college, and making it more accessible for our youth to get to college, because college is important.
Exactly.
In my opinion.
Exactly. No, I agree. I agree. You know, everyone, once they get older, you can decide, is college for me? Is college not for me? But, you know, people always say, just, especially if you're not sure what you want to do when you go to college, go to a community college.
At least try.
Get your associates, and then kind of figure out what you want to do after that. And that's kind of what they always told us in high school too. And, you know, whatever it is you want to do, as long as you have some kind of plan, you don't have to have it all figured out. But especially like you're saying, like the things that you grew up living in, it kind of shapes you, and it makes you think like, hey, I want to get out of this, you know, and I want to do better for myself, and I want to do better for my family. So you want to...
super easy to adapt to it. Super easy.
Yeah. It becomes normalized to kind of maybe, you know how people cope with their trauma through jokes, or make jokes like, oh, haha, like this is how it is, you know, for me. And that's funny. It's fine because it's normal for me. But like you said, it's not, it shouldn't be normal, and it shouldn't be something like a way for kids to grow up in. And that's something that kind of really keeps you in that, I guess, headspace and mind space. Like, oh, I don't think I'll be able to get out of this because this is where I grew up and this is how it is. But
it's easy to get trapped if you easily.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's easy, and it's not easy to kind of get out of that, I feel like. So definitely pursuing your passions and having all these support systems around you really did kind of help you grow and come, you know, to see like, okay, these are issues in my community that I care about, and that more people should care about. So thinking and kind of talking about being involved in your community, you were talking to me about a business that you just started recently.
Yes, I recently just started a business called Urbanlaced Chi. It's a sneaker reselling business, and we're mostly want to give back to the community, and at the same time as reselling like different clothes that our youth tend to go to because they want to dress like the rappers and all the expensive brands. But if you see that it's not really nothing like that on the Southside Chicago, you got to travel all the way up to North to Wicker Park in order to get to the access to those type of clothes. So we want to make it easier for our youth to access those clothes.
Exactly. Kind of making sure that there are resources not just in certain neighborhoods in Chicago. You want to make sure they're available in other places because youth are all over, obviously, not just on the north side. Even though it's easier to get stuff over there, you want to make stuff easier to get in West Englewood and South communities of Chicago. So you said that there's an event you have coming up?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to host a clothing drive August 8th. And we're going to give back to community, actually the Pacific Garden Mission with all the proceeds that's donated to us. And that's a way of us giving back to the community. Like I said, that's our whole thing is these other sneaker resellers, but they just want to sell and take money from our youth. But we want to give back to like other people that's around us.
Exactly. I love that. So can you say your Instagram for people to follow you?
At Urbanlaced Chi on Chicago. On Instagram.
Okay, nice. Okay, well, thank you so much, Triston, for coming on. I hope you guys are able to attend the event if you can, or if not, just share it with other people. That would really help a lot. Be more involved in your communities and just help other businesses grow, which is really important. But yeah, I hope you all have a good rest of your evening. Thank you so much, Triston,
Thank you for having me
here. Thank you so much. And I hope you all have a good rest of your Thursday. Thank you. Bye.